Welcome, everybody, to Mark It Down Live. As always, so appreciative to have you alongside me here in my golf studio, and you should all appreciate my wife, Amy, today, because it's her birthday. June 10th is a big day in the Wilson household, and she's like, Mark, go do your program. Go do Mark It Down Live and come back and join me afterwards. We got a little golf plan later. PGA Junior League my kids are involved in. We're going to go do that, and I guess that's kind of what birthdays end up being when you're a parent. They're kind of whatever your kids are up to, and you kind of go follow, and hopefully they can lift you up a little bit. So hopefully we've been doing that for Amy, me, and my kids. We've had some fun today so far, but it's not over yet. But I'm happy to be with you, and it's been fun. This is my 15th episode of Mark It Down Live. Talked to a lot of different players on the PGA Tour and some other golf personalities. Hope you've enjoyed their tips. Hope they've helped your game. If you've missed any or you want to get a refresher on those tips, you can visit my YouTube channel, Mark It Down Golf, and see the interviews, get those tips as you get on the golf course. Some great tips from major champions and other players on the PGA Tour and guys outside of golf that aren't playing on the PGA Tour but love golf and have some great insights for us. Golf's returning, everybody. Charles Schwab Challenge starts tomorrow. Can't believe it. It's been 3 months, and here we go. It's going to be really exciting. And today's guest, Andy Levinson, an executive for the PGA Tour, is going to fill in some of those blanks about what you're going to see tomorrow and in the weeks going forward. We talk about that return to golf. He even gives us a tip on his own golf game, even though he hasn't played a whole lot of golf lately. He's been focusing on getting us back to watching golf. But enjoy the interview with Andy, and I'll talk to you on the other side. Excited to have on the program today PGA Tour Senior Vice President of Tournament Administration, a guy who has been really at the forefront of this whole return to golf on the PGA Tour. Andy Levinson, welcome to Mark It Down Live.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks for having me.
My guess is you probably haven't had a good night's sleep in about 3 months, and if you are sleeping, you're probably dreaming about Colonial Country Club or some sort of COVID test.
Yeah, it's been pretty intense, trying to figure out all of the different facets of returning to Compton and hosting an event and how to do that in a safe way. There are a lot of details that are running through my head and certainly in the middle of the night sometimes too.
Andy, you've overseen some huge changes on the PGA Tour. I think back to 2008, and the drug testing policy was brand new. And then with the Olympics coming back to golf in 2016, in Rio, we were on a board together. You kind of head up USA Golf and really trying to figure out all of that. We figured it out. We got even a bronze medal for Matt Kuchar. But now this whole pandemic, something that really wasn't planned, all of a sudden Thursday night at the Players' Championship, everything shut down. PGA Tour suspended. Where do you even start? When did you start thinking about this return to golf?
That night.
Okay. I knew you'd say that.
We had already been in the process of talking to our medical advisors and trying to learn more about the virus and things of that nature, and certainly in preparation for hosting the Players' Championship. But then as soon as that happened, I continued working with our medical advisors and trying to understand what this all meant. Like, when were we going to be able to get back to normal? And obviously we're still not there yet, but we're coming back to some competition, so we're making steps.
When I think about the PGA Tour, its mission statement is threefold: to provide playing opportunities for professional golfers, to give back to the communities that we're going to go to, and then finally to grow the game. Was there an obligation on the PGA Tours? Did they feel an obligation? It's like, hey, if we can do this safely, to really abide by our mission statement, we got to get back to competition as quickly as possible.
Well, yes. I mean, look, that is our responsibility. We're a membership organization, and our mission is to provide playing opportunities for our members, and as you said, help the communities in which we played. But we weren't going to do that if that meant taking away valuable resources from the communities in which we were playing, or if we couldn't do so in a safe and healthy manner. So we spent months developing a health and safety plan, using expert advice, consulting with our membership, and got to a point where we felt comfortable moving forward. And that's where we are today, and we're really excited about it.
I received that 37-page attachment to an email to say how we're going to do it. And then I got the 36-page participant resource guide, which kind of made me think back to my rookie year when I got that book that was about this thick, was the regulations book. It's almost like these guys are rookies again.
Yeah, you know, we don't feel like we can communicate enough in this environment, and so we've provided everybody with the tools that they need to feel comfortable coming back, and to also know their responsibilities. I mean, when we get back and we execute this plan, it will only work if we are all focused on adhering to the policies and executing things in a safe manner as we've outlined. So it's really important that we educate. We're still going to have to do it. People are going to, it's human nature to fall back into things that you're accustomed to doing, like high-fiving or things like that. People are going to slip up, but we're going to keep sending communications as much as we can.
And no high fives after holes in one. That'll be kind of a tough thing for the guys to do, but hopefully we'll see some. I'm excited to see some live golf. And I'm just wondering, with everything that's coming up, there's got to be a couple of things that you maybe lose more sleep over than others. There are a couple of those things that you really hope go smoothly that you're not sure about.
So from a testing perspective, that was the thing that was really, and the dialogue in the United States was there's not enough testing. And we had to deal with that concern. And then it was, okay, how do we implement testing in a way that doesn't impact competition or even a player's preparation? Test results were taking a week to 10 days at one point. Now test results can come back, within a day to 3 days. But even then, that was a hurdle for us. And so we were really fortunate to have a company that we already had a relationship with on PGA Tour Champions called Sanford Health. And they reached out to us and said, you know what, we have something that might solve these problems for you. And that is a mobile laboratory. And so we have now partnered with Sanford for all 3 of our domestic tours, PGA Tour, Korn Ferry Tour, and PGA Tour Champions. And we're going to have laboratories on site and bring all the resources with us. So we're not utilizing local resources, and we're going to be able to deliver test results in a matter of just a few hours, which is going to be great. So those were really the 2 biggest issues that I was concerned about leading up to it. And now that we have this great partnership with Sanford, I feel good about it going forward. Of course, as we look ahead, there's no way to eliminate all the risk in this environment, right? There's just no way. And we've got a lot of people traveling from a lot of different places. And so we feel like we have a comprehensive plan in place. We're doing some testing. We're doing screening every day. But there's always the chance of exposure. And I guess that's the thing that is the unknown for us going forward.
That's why you guys took so long to get back. Well, so long, I guess. I mean, it's been 3 months, but you announced Colonial 6 to 8 weeks ago and really put this all in place. And I certainly appreciate your work on all of this. Is there a number of positive tests that would scare you? Is it just 1? Is it 5? Is it 20 that first week of Colonial? If that happens, what's going to scare you?
There's not a set number that says, okay, you have to stop playing an event. It's really on a case-by-case basis. You have to look at it if there's a positive and work with the local county and do contact tracing and see if you can identify where that exposure may have come from. If that person who tests positive was not following our guidelines, maybe went out into the community and got exposed in some manner, then we could identify that and potentially say, okay, the rest of our constituents groups have not been exposed to this person, and we can move on. Which is why social distancing is really the foundation of everything we're doing. And we're really lucky that we're playing a sport that's outdoors across hundreds of acres, and we can really operate in a socially distant manner at all times. We've even made recommendations, as you've seen, about the player-caddy interaction and ways that they can stay, more than 6 feet apart when they're doing their job. So if we have one person who tests positive, but we're all being responsible and staying in that socially distant manner, then it won't be sort of an outbreak situation, but rather an isolated one. So we really just have to look at it case by case. Hopefully none.
Hopefully none is right. That's what I'm rooting for sure. And living in Illinois, we've been a little locked down a little more than, say, a place where a lot of guys live, say Georgia or Florida, Arizona. Are you taking on the most stringent measures of, say, in Illinois for the tournaments, no matter where everybody's coming from?
Yeah, so we're going to be operating these events really in a manner that we have been living in, that sort of safer at home mentality. We're trying to create a closed, safe environment, both on the golf course and then extend that into our accommodations. So at least in the near term, we're asking all the players and caddies and other essential staff to not eat out in local restaurants, even if they're open and dining in. We'd rather people continue to just do takeout. And just be responsible, continue social distancing, limit your exposure to others. Certainly the measures that we're taking from a screening and testing perspective are much more stringent than you'll find in daily life. But that we felt that was really important in order to return to competition, and also as we travel from one community to another, give those communities some assurance that we're doing everything we can and we're not going to be bringing, infected people into their communities.
They want peace of mind for sure. I agree on that, and you guys have done a fantastic job with all that. Let's talk about the actual week. Pro-Ams are a huge part of the PGA Tour, and they're not going to be played here in the first 4 or 5 events, whatever it might be, which makes total sense. Are you finding ways to replace the actual Pro-Am where we get to play on Wednesday with different amateur partners with something else so that the pros can still connect with the sponsors?
Yeah, so in these first 4 weeks, we understand that those are critical elements to they're the lifeblood of really PGA Tour events. And it's an incredible opportunity for people to get close to great athletes like yourself and get to know them on a personal level. We want to get back to that soon. But in the meantime, we're going to be doing some things virtually at tournaments. So the players are going to have some virtual interaction with some of our customers. And then look, we know that golf can be played in a socially distant manner. It's being done all over the country right now. And we think we can do that with Pro-Ams. And so we're really hopeful that maybe not in these first 4 weeks, but certainly very soon that we'll be able to start doing those again.
The planning for the next thing never ends. I was on the PGA Tour policy board and the PAC, and I was amazed at the 10 to 15-page documents every couple of months of the issues that came up. And so, yes, we're going to have some more issues with this as you guys continue to try to open up even more. I look forward to the day when the tournaments can get back to complete normal. But in the meantime, it's fantastic to just have some live golf that people can pay attention to. Finally, let's transition to your golf. I'm assuming you probably haven't been able to play a whole lot of golf during this planning process, have you?
No, I've only played 9 holes over the last 3 months with my 2 boys who are 6 and 9, but
Okay.
I did get the itch the other day because I was in a PGA Tour superstore with my 6-year-old. He's grown quite a bit over the last year and is ready for some new clubs. So we went in there and checked it out, and I hit a few on the simulator. And so maybe once we get a couple of turns under our belt and I feel like the system's running well, I'll be able to get back out there.
Well, you deserve to get out there and enjoy the fresh air and play a little bit, especially with your kids. What a fantastic thing to teach them. And on Mark It Down Live, I like to ask everybody about a swing tip that has worked for them. Do you have something? What do you think you're going to go back to? Now, with all this time off, my tendency was to go back with serious low expectations and kind of go back to something that has worked for me in the past. Do you have something like that, Andy?
I do, because I have over the course of my golfing life had some extended breaks like this, and what I just really focus is balance and trying to get in an athletic position and feel very centered. And I feel like if I'm centered, I at least can put a decent swing together and make consistent contact if my body feels completely centered. So it's, for me, that's really, I try to keep my swing thoughts to a minimum when I come back, and I, like you said, hopefully have no expectations. And so really just focusing on balance is my key, at least. It works for me.
Well, I'm going to have to try that. That's a great key. I had Harold Varner on last week, and he talked about how his teacher told him all the time, don't miss the shot before you even start. And he talked about the fundamentals of setup. And so he was kind of like that. And then the swing, right, it only takes a second and a half. So if you can keep those swing thoughts to a 0 and just react from a good setup, that's great advice, Andy. Well, hey, thank you so much for being on the program. And, of course, all those sleepless nights, all those long hours that you and the staff of the PGA Tour have done. I appreciate it. As a player, as a broadcaster, the media appreciates it. The fans appreciate it. So thanks for all that. And I really hope it goes super smooth when we start up at Colonial very soon.
Thanks, Mark.
Take care.
Always good to you.
Hope you enjoyed that with Andy Levinson. He's put in countless hours into this return to golf. But there's so many others that have done that as well, working for the PGA Tour, the different tournaments, the sponsors, all of that stuff. And it makes me feel like I need to explain a little bit how the decisions are made on the PGA Tour, because we don't have a players union unlike some of the other big sports do. We have what's called the Player Advisory Council, which is a 16-man group that gives recommendations, talks about different issues that are coming up on the PGA Tour. Might be slow play, might be certain tee time things. It could be size of field. This was a big one. They had 4 meetings, I think, in the last 3 months with the Player Advisory Council, and it's made up of 16 guys that are all from different walks on the PGA Tour. Rory McIlroy's on it, so the number 1 player in the world. And then you've also got some rookies on there and a mix in between. So you're trying to get all the different opinions from all the different players and in their situations so we can make the best decisions for the PGA Tour. Now, those recommendations then go up to the PGA Tour Policy Board, which is made up of 4 PGA Tour players, the PGA of America president, and then 4 executives, CEOs from big firms around the world. So with that, they've had 9 meetings. The board has done 9 meetings in the last 3 months, and that's also, you think about the countless hours of receiving emails and reading through it, sifting through your own thoughts in your mind. So we have a lot to owe to that Player Advisory Council and the board for getting us back to golf. And, of course, to Andy Levinson and all the staff. So he filled in some blanks. I'm excited about the new testing with Sanford Health. That's going to be really helpful to get players the answer that they are COVID-free right away so they can go out there, peace of mind, and play. And then also, I think it's really cool with golf that here's Andy Levinson, who's working for the PGA Tour, but he loves to play golf too. Hasn't got to play a whole lot lately, but he's able to give us a tip And I think that's such a neat part about golf. And his tip was about being centered. We've heard that a few other times on Market Down Live, most recently from Chris Baker. He was talking about kind of thinking about his nose and thinking about that in space. And if you're able to just kind of turn around your spine and stay centered, then you have a better chance of having your bottom point in the same spot every time and helping out with contact. I've got the 17th hole here at Harbor Town up on the screen. I didn't have Colonial on my simulator, but thought I'd hit one last shot for you all here on Market Down Live. This will be the end of Season 1. It's been so much fun having you guys alongside me for all of this. And I'm really excited for the return to golf. I'm going to be calling the action for PGA Tour Radio next week for the Heritage, but tune in to Sirius XM PGA Tour Radio this week. A great team is going to be calling the action. Also, PGA Tour Live. If you want to catch the very first minutes of the return to golf, that's the place to do it on Thursday morning. I know a lot of people are going to be tuning in, myself included, to see how these players are going to respond with all this time off. I'll be on the call for a few others this summer, and I'll revert back. I'll be doing some of the market downs that I've done before. Just won't be live anymore. It'll be little short videos that I'll come up with, and I'll put that out on Twitter and Instagram. And once again, I appreciate you all hanging with me and just being with me as I learned my way through this broadcasting, and we'll get back to some live golf. Hope you guys enjoy it. I got to give you a final Market Down for Market Down Live, and I'm going to go out on a limb and give you a prediction this week. I'm going to say Market Down, Abraham Answer is going to get his first PGA Tour win during these next 2 weeks, either Colonial or Harbor Town. He's got a great game for both golf courses. He's hungry for a win. I like Abraham's chances. Who do you think? Engage with me. Let me know what you think on Twitter. And as always, you can find this interview and any of my other ones on YouTube, Market Down Golf. In any event, y'all stay safe, hit a lot of fairways, and one putt often, and I'll see you down the road. Later.